Hi everyone, my name is Ayodele Butayo. I'm from Official African Force TV. I'm here this afternoon in England with one of our brothers who live here in England. He's also an African, and we are here to ask him some of his challenges, his experiences, and so many things. And the advice can give a new beginner coming down here to England. What's your name, please?
My name is Kings. My name is Chigoze, but you can call me Kings. That's my middle name.
Where are you from, generally?
Yes, I'm from Nigeria in Africa.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, I'm a Nigerian.
How long have you been in England?
I came to the UK 2023 basically, towards the end of 2023. And yeah, so basically a year plus.
So what really bring you down to England, if I may ask?
First of all, the crave for knowledge. I decided to come, not because my country was bad, but I needed to experience some levels of academic acquisition, and that was why I came to the UK, to the University of Sussex, to do my master's.
What has been your experience so far for the past 2 years?
It's been a combination of different experiences. I have enjoyed myself here. I have learned a whole new way of thinking. At least firsthand, I've been able to understand how the English people, alongside with so many other races in the UK, how they behave, how they interact, their relationship, their culture, their way of life. It's something that is very, very exciting to learn. So I think it's been a very nice experience. It has had its own challenges too. There have been several challenges, but the challenges is what makes it beautiful, because I think the challenges is part of life. The academic experience has been a journey of a sort. Having to pay the fees, having to cope with a new environment, new kinds of people that think in different ways, interaction with lecturers and with students alike, and the need to pass my exams. All of this going together. Again, I must also emphasize that I have also had to work in order to keep up with the financial demands, which is not easy. It's been a wonderful journey so far, and I think it's all exciting.
This has been one of the great strengths of Africa. In every situation we find ourselves, we always try to strive. Can you compare the level of development here in England to Africa?
Well, yeah, in terms of structural development, in terms of institutional development, I think that we have a lot, Africa has a lot to learn from them. However, there are certain scores, our areas that will score Africa very high. They have a lot to learn from us too. But when it comes to structural development, institutional development, what I mean by that is institutions that work. We need to learn a lot from them, and there is nothing to be proud of. There is nothing to be ashamed of, rather, in learning from people who are getting it right.
That's good. So I believe, are you single or married?
I'm a married man. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And you're here with your wife?
I'm here with my family. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. So we've been hearing a lot of things that so many Africans, when they move down here to England, their marriage breaks, or their marriages break. I don't know how true it is. How come you've been able to sustain your work with your family, and you're still doing well in the family? What have been the strength? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Thank you very much. I think that the idea of that idea of saying that marriages collapse when they come to the UK is a result of misunderstanding between the couple. Where there is understanding, where there is cohesion, where there is unity of purpose, and where there is planning, there is nothing that can break the fabric of a marriage. I think that the reason why so many marriages collapse is a result of lack of these things I have mentioned, where the wife feels that her money is her money, and the husband feels that his money is his money. For me, in my own experience, we do things together. I and my wife do things together. We plan together, and I believe that with that in place, it becomes easier for us as a couple to build cohesion. We don't have any sense of entitlement to the monies we make, because I know that money is one area of friction, one area that creates friction between husbands and wives. I think we are getting it right in that aspect.
That's lovely, because I've been hearing a lot of things that once they get here in family, maybe their marriages break and there's no unity among the family. It's been something concern to us. How come our Africans? How come this is happening to our Africans? And I'm glad that you make so many emphasis that with unity, with understanding, with that, your marriage will always last. That's good. So also, what can you tell us? Advice can you give to Africa? What kind of advice can you give to us in Africa about from the development here and how they can get things right in Africa?
Yes, thank you. So this advice is not just to our leaders, the leaders first of all, but also to Africans here who have lived in the diaspora abroad for a long time and who go back home. I think that anytime we go back home, we should be able to go back with the good things that we have seen in this country, because like I mentioned earlier, they have institutions that work, and that is one of the areas I'd like us to learn from. And this culture of workable institution is something that is traceable back to several years back. For Africa to get it right, we need to engage in long-term plans. And when I'm talking about that, I'm calling on African governments to understand that for us to build lasting institutions, we need to engage in long-term plans, not plans that get disrupted with the entrance of a new government. Because I think that inability to sustain policies is one of the things that have collapsed the fabric of our institutions. Regardless of which political party that comes regardless of which government that comes in, we should be able to keep up with institutions, ideologies that will ensure that we get it right in the long run. And this is only possible when we try to establish long-term policies that is going to transcend the present government, that is going to transcend the present generation. If you look at the UK, for example, you will see institutions that have lasted over 200 years, 500 years. The NHS is one of the strongest institutions, for example, one of the highest employers of labor, the NHS. And they've got it right. And that is why anywhere you go in the country, they make reference to the UK as having a very strong healthcare system. That is because they have maintained sustainable policies that have transcended governments. And I think that bringing that in various areas of our life in Africa, we need to ensure that policies are made that will transcend present government, that will ensure continuity. Continuity is one of the keys that we can adopt in order to get things right in Africa. And again, please, I must emphasize very, very importantly, there is corruption almost everywhere in the world. But I think that the scale of corruption differs. Africa has to also ensure that we select the right government, people that will understand that the population, the citizens, should be the primary focus. It beats my imagination to think about the difference between how the government in the UK place emphasis on their citizens as against how the government in Africa place emphasis on their citizens. You see, the most important people here in the UK, I'm not saying that other people are not important, but the most important people in the UK are people who seem to be incapacitated, people who seem to be disabled, people who have no help. You see that the government pays a lot of focus on them, gives them money, takes care of them. In fact, I think that is one area that we need to learn from in Africa. I don't want to spend much time talking about the things they can learn from Africa because we've got strong values that I think that they also need to learn from us.
I believe you work here in England.
Yes, I work in England.
So, like, what kind of advice can you give a new beginner that just entered the UK? What are the steps? What are the things you think he can do before he or she can get a job?
Yes, so first of all, when you come to the UK, you need to get your DBS. You have to ensure that, first of all, you are a legal immigrant. Because if you're an illegal immigrant here in the UK, you might not be able to work. So make sure you get a DBS and make sure you have a place to stay, because these are important criteria to be able to get a job. So with your status with your visa, a visa that allows you to work, with your DBS, with your residence, these are the things that you can use to get a job. And good thing is that they've got a lot of work here. There must be an area that will fit everybody. So employment, especially here in Brighton, is not an issue. And there are other places in the UK where employment is not very rampant. But here in Brighton, I'm sure that if you come and stay 1 month and put in effort to looking for work, you get a good job. But once you have been able to get a good job, maintaining that job is another thing. You need to try to upskill yourself, get the necessary skills that aligns with that area of work you are doing. Keep upskilling yourself, experience, so that at every point in time you can have the opportunity to keep growing and have the right attitude to work. That is another key area that we need to emphasize on. Many Africans come here and they come with a very bad attitude. So you need to have the right attitude. There is no space for indifference to your work. You need to be very serious with your work. And I think that with all of this, you'll be able to sustain your work when you get work.
Yeah. And also, let's say I want to look for a job now. I have my DBS, I have my national insurance, I have everything. What would be the first thing? Will I go on a site? What are the sites that you think I can go on to apply for a job? And what are the things you think I can do first?
So you need everything here is done online. I'm not saying there are certain times when you can also get a job by going to offices, but when you have your phone that you can use to browse, or your laptop, one job site you can apply on is Indeed. Register with Indeed. Make sure you have a good CV. Don't just write any kind of CV. There are CV templates online that you can use to create a very sellable CV for yourself. And once you've been able to do that, put in all the necessary. In fact, the CV guideline will tell you what you need to do. All you need to do is put in all the relevant information, print it out, and store it on the given site. For example, with your CV done, you can upload it on Indeed website, put in all your information. They keep supplying you with. They have an automatic system of assessing your CV and knowing the areas of skill you have, the job that is suitable for you. Once you've been able to do that, you get daily loads of job updates, and I believe that with that, it becomes easy for you to get a job. That's how I got my jobs. I think it's quite easy.
Last question: how can a family with
Yeah.
children, what
Yeah.
kind of advice can you give a family of children, like say 1, 2, 3, how they can survive in UK easily? What kind of advice can you give them?
Yes, when you have children, it is easy, and then it can be a bit more difficult because there are, for example, there are standards of requirements. If you're a married couple, you can even get a self-contained. If you're a married couple without children, you can get a self-contained. But once you have a child, it becomes difficult for you to get an accommodation at that level. What you'll be looking for is 2 bedroom upwards. So one thing that you can do, because I have also seen instances where people, once you have a child, it becomes difficult for you to get an accommodation at that level. What you'll be looking for is 2 bedroom upwards. So one thing that you can do, because I have also seen instances where people with families are able to get self-contained, that is a bit spacious. But I think it all depends on who the landlord is. But the odds are actually against people with children. So what many people with children end up doing is that they have to rent 2 bedroom flats because if you have a male child, he needs a room for himself. If you have a female child, the standard is that the female children should have a different room for themselves. Then, as a couple, you need to also have a room for yourself. So, if you are looking at that standard, what you should be looking for is 3 bedroom flats. But at least with 2 bedroom flats, you can get started. And if you're lucky, as a couple with children, you can get a 1 bedroom flat. The more the flat, the more the cost. This is where it becomes difficult. One of the things that couples should do is to make sure that both of them are working. You can't come here and say you're a married woman and you want to be a full-time housewife. You just need to make sure you get a job, make sure you're working, because when you complement the efforts of your partner, it becomes a lot easier for you people to survive, because there are several bills to be paid. So apart from the house rent, you have council tax, you have NEPA bill, you have if you have a car, you need to pay for insurance, you need to several bills to pay. So it's not something you leave for one partner to handle. My advice to family people with children is that all hands must be on deck. You must be working, and you must be working not just hard but also work smart, so that you can be able to.
Thank you so much. I would like
yourself.
to take your time.
Yeah.
Once again, my name is Adelo Gutayo. I'm from Official African First TV. For every information, just always subscribe and like us. Go to our page at Official African First TV, where you can get the best information about what's happening in Africa, the good things that are happening to our people in diaspora. You can get the best information, and we always give you the best information you need. Thank you, and God bless you.